Okay, we left off. We didn't finish to the Mishnah. We left off with the idea of mu'ubas la yochel liskoin v'chesron la yochel imanos. We said that a person who doesn't bring his Chagigah is considered mu'ubas la yochel liskoin. He can't make it up. We had a question from other people. What's another shita? We said a person. Rav Shimon Yochai says that a person who is Rav Shimon ben Menashe, excuse me, said a person who's ba'al ala erva v'hoilid mimenu mamzer. So that's, you can't take it back. If you steal, you can return it. But once the sign of your aveira is in the world, such as the mamzer being a siman of an illicit relation, that can't be taken back. Rabbi Shimon Yochai says, in order to be mu'ubas layochel iskain, it has to be something that once upon a time was good and went bad. That's a Talmud Chacham who went off. So let's begin. We're on Tes Amid Beis, where the lines get 3 lines down, where the lines get wide. 3 lines down, where the lines get wide. What's considered something that is crooked, that can't be straight? Hoiled in mashma dafka, if the union created a mamzer, loy hoiled loy, but the illicit relation itself is not considered mu'ubas layochel liskain, right? That Rav Shimon ben Menashe said dafka, if as a result of the illicit relation, it created what? A mamzer. Mashma, the illicit relation itself, not. We're going to ask a stira in Rav Shimon ben Menashe. But Tanya Rav Shimon ben Menashe Omer, going to Vadam, if a person steals, it's possible to go ahead and return it. Yachzer genevai, the attacking. Goizaladam gzela, that's robbery, not clandestinely like a ganef. Goizaladam efshe yachzer gzela, he can turn the gezel yisaking. Avalabo aleishis ish, someone is boiled on an eishis ish. He has relations with an eishis ish. The osra lebaila, and as a result of the relation, asks on the husband. Nitrad mina olam, he's turned out of this world. V'halachloi, and l'chayra, that is the case of what? Of mu'ubas layochel iskain. So this is the price is going to continue in a second, but let's stop and focus on the kasha. In our Mishnah, Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe said, dafka, if you have a mamzer. Here, Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe is saying even the relationship itself has a irrevocable act. The fact that what? That the wife can no longer live with the husband once what? It was once the issa was done. Rav Shimon Yochai Ein Omer, we don't say bikrei gamel. If you're going to go ahead and bring a carbon, you don't say check the gamel, check a camel for mum. Bikrei chazer, check the pig for mums, because they're not good. Ela bikrei tle, we say to go ahead what? And be mevaka a tle, meaning someone who is capable, then we check out. Ve'ezeh is a Talmud Chacham shepirish min haTorah. So again, Rabbi Shimon Yochai says, in order to be mu'ubas layochel liskain, it has to be something that was inherently good, not just a regular person, but a Talmud Chacham who went bad, similar to a good sheep that went bad by getting a mum. So that's the machlokes. The question, but bottom line is, our kasha is what? In our Mishnah, Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe said it has to be what? To give birth to a mamzer. And here we're saying no, even without giving birth to a mamzer, just the illicit affair itself would go ahead and make usher on her husband, and as a result, it's mu'ubas layochel liskain. Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish, Kol Talmud Chacham sheparish min haTorah, any Talmud Chacham that separates Torah, all of because of Omer, we just quote a pasuk, Kitzipin Adedes Minkina, like a bird that flies the coop, leaves the nest. Kain Ish Adedes, a person goes from out of his place. The Omer, another pasuk, Mamotzu Avosechem Bi Avel Ki Rachku Me'alai, that you distance yourself from me. The bottom line is those pasukim are concerning the Talmud Chacham that went bad, substantiating what? The shita of Rav Shimon bar Yochai. Okay, so that bottom line is we're not dealing with that at all. We're dealing with the shita what of Rav Shimon ben Menashe. We're dealing with the shita of Rav Shimon ben Menashe, who says that in our Mishnah it's dafka a mamzer, and here it says even just a asa without creating a mamzer. Like kasha kan ba'achoise penuya kan be'eshes ish. So if a man is with his sister who's not married, she's not an eshes ish, she's an erva. A man's with his sister, it's chayav koris. Any union of chayiv karis, misas increases a karis with it, a child that's a mamzer. So over here, she would be also to live with anybody. She can live with anybody. She's not an eshes ish. In that scenario, the only way it will be mu'ubas layochel liskain is for her to go ahead and give birth to a mamzer. However, be'eshes ish, you don't even need her to give birth to a mamzer. Just the act itself, which would aser on a husband, would be irrevocable act of movis lo yochel liskain. V'bay seima, another terrace to the parent contradiction. Rabbi Shimon ben Asya, hava be'eshes ish v'lei kasha, kan ba'onis kan beratzin. If a man forced himself on a woman, he was ma'anis a woman, he physically forced himself, she's pata, so she's able to live with her husband. Masha'en kain, if she didn't force it, was non beratzin, then she's asa. So therefore, the oinus would have to have what a mamza born, but the regular would not have to have a mamza born. The one that would need a mamza born would be what? An eshes ish, because she's an anusa, an eshes ish, she's not asa to her husband. The one that you wouldn't need a mamza born, that's irrevocable, even if she was forced, but if she's an eshes kohen, we know an eshes kohen would be asa what? The anusa. So three terutzim, either achoise penuya, is speaking there, you need a mamzer versus eshes ish, or an eshes ish, one's an anusa, one's baratza, and anusa would need a mamzer, or an eshes kohen, or a regular anusa, the anusa would need a mamzer, and the eshes kohen would be aser. So we just conclude, we just finish with a pasuk over here. This is speaking about a Talmud Chacham who leaves Torah. It says, "Uliyotzei v'lavoi ein shalom." Someone who goes, who comes, there's no shalom. Amar Rav, what does that mean? Once a person, he leaves halacha to go ahead and study mikra, he leaves halacha to study chumash. In that case, there's no shalom. There's no shalom of hayra of psak halacha. Shuvein leShalom. Ushmul Amar said, "Parish mi tamud leMishnah." Person leaves learning Gemara to Mishnah. Again, from Mishnah you can't pass him, but from Gemara you could. Rabbi Yochanan Amar afilu mishas leShas. The question was, I mean, from Rashi says from Yerushalmi to Bavli. Seems the Yerushalmi was easier to go ahead and get psak from because the Bavli is more cryptic and harder. Other people say for Paisus brings other opinions from Bavli to Yerushalmi. Either way, that would be in line with the idea of being Pirish one from the other. Next Mishnah, fascinating, nothing to do with Amasechta whatsoever. They mention one word, but it's a famous Mishnah nonetheless. Heta nidorim parchim ba'avir ve'ein lehem amashi yismechu. The concept of being able to take a neder off when a person makes a neder, and it's taken off either through hataras nidorim of a bezdin or hafaras nidorim of a husband, if it's heard within a certain period of time. That is there's no allusion to it in the Torah. You don't have what to be saimich on. It seems to be totally, it's there, but we don't know why. The Brisa is going to disagree with our Mishnah, but that's the first statement. Hilcha Shabbos, Chagigah, and this is why we bring it around Masechta. The halachas concerning Shabbos, the halachas of Chagigah, of the carbon Chagigah, V'hami Elois, and the concept being moil behegdish. When we get to this on the Yomid Beis, I'll be more elaborate. Harihim keharim hatuluyim b'sa'ara. They're like mountains, literally, that are hanging by a hair. Shein mikra muit. They are very, very. The psukim do not speak a lot about them. However, halachas merubais, and they have tremendous halachas. So it's attached to the Torah through a hair, but it's a mountain. It's a mountain full of halachas based upon very, very little. Hadinim v'avodos, halachas of bezdin, avodos, the halachas of doing the avoid in the Beis Hamikdash, hatahairas, atameos, all the parsha of Tumah v'Taira, Nida, Zov, Mitzayra, Yoledes, v'Aroyos, the passion achimos of Aroyos, Yeshlem amash yimsuchu v'heinim gufei Torah. They have what to be semichon and they're gufei Torah. So tonight we'll be spending time explaining Nidarim and the Shabbos, Chagigah, and Me'ilah. We're going to be spending time on that. So our Mishnah said that Heter Nidarim, Hafaras Nidarim, doesn't have what to be Semichon. It's there, but we don't have what to be Semichon. The Gemara disagrees. Tanya, we have a Brisa that disagrees with our Mishnah. We're going to have like a few opinions, and the Gemara Shmuel is going to get his opinion, and similar to the Gemara in Megillah, where Rava substantiated the Amoira Shmuel versus all the Tanoim, we'll have the same idea over here. Tanya, Rebbe Eliezer Omer. Yesh lahem al masha yismechu. They do have what to be samich. In other words, I have a place to be samich, a pasuk in the Torah to be samich the halacha of heter nedarim. Shenemar, it says twice, ish kiyafli in the pashas of nedarim and ish kiyafli in the pashas of erichin. Erichin is where the person expresses a desire to give money to Beis Hamikdash by saying his erich should be on himself, and depending upon his age, or harage, you give a set amount. So it's l'chayra. Why you have a double lashon of kiyafli? Shtei pam achas hafla. Two lashons of hafla means to express, guys, to express. Achas hafla le'isr. One is an expression of isr. The achas hafla leheter, and one is an expression to take it off. So here is your source for taking off what? A neder. One, you can express the neder, and two, you can express the reverse of the neder. So yeshal ma yismach like Rebbe Eliezer, you have what to be samich on in the pasha of Nedarim. Another opinion, another Tana, Rabbi Yeshua, the Tana Rabbi Yeshua ben Chana Omer, yeshlam ma yismachu shneimar. It says in Tehillim, Asher nishbati be'api, right? That we say it all the time. Asher nishbati be'api. I swore in my anger, be'api nishbati, and now b'chazarti. When I was angry, I expressed the shvua. But now that I calmed down, I changed my mind. So l'chayra, you have an allusion from Tehillim, al yesham al lismay. Bei Rabbi Yitzchak, Aman Yeshir Rabbi Yitzchak, they said, yeshlam al ma yismechu, the parsha of Hataras Nedarim has what to be samech on, shnemar, kol nediv liboy, all nediv leiv. So a person who is a nediv leiv, right? A person who is a nediv leiv, he's a willing person. He would bring truma. He would bring for the Beis Hamikdash, right? But let's say he changes his mind. Rashi says the modenu liboy noivayalav yivio v'mischarit, and if he changes his mind, then you take it off. So you have malismich, that in other words, when he's feeling benevolent, then go ahead and take it off. When he's not, then give. But when he changes his mind, ischaret on his benevolency, then take it off. So another source. So three pshatim, ish kiyafli, or Rabbi Yeshua saying what? Shenish bati biapi, Yeshiv Rabbi Yitzchak saying what? From the Divlev. A fourth opinion, Chananya ben Achai Rabbi Yeshua, Aimer, Achi Rabbi Yeshua, the brother Rabbi Yeshua says, Yesh lahem amashi yismechu het. Hataras Nedarim has what to be samech on shenemar pasuk in the Hillim, Nishbati v'chayema, lishbay nishbetei tzedkecha. I swore and I fulfilled to watch Mishbetei Tzidkecha. So it says Nishpati v'kayema. When it says v'kayem, that if he wants to, he doesn't have to be mekayem. If he wants to be mekayem to fill his neder, then not. So four opinions. I'm Rabbi Yehuda Meshmuel, a fifth opinion. Ihavi Hasam says Rabbi Yehuda name is Shmuel. If I was there, Hasam Amilahu. Didi adif midchu. My source for Hataras Nedarim is stronger than your source. Shenemar lo yachel devaroi. A person makes a neder, right? In Parshas Matos, lo yachel devaroi. What does that mean? Lo yachel devaroi. Who eina meichel? He can't go ahead and be mechalel his vart. Aval acherim, others meichlin loy, others could. Lo yachel devaroi. If you made a neder, you have to keep it. You can't profane it, but others could profane it. So that's his source for what? For Hataras Nedarim. So our Mishnah said there is no source for it. We have a brayso that brings five opinions. There is a source for it. The Gemara is going to conclude that the last source of Layachal Devaroi is the one that makes the most sense. Amarava, Lekulu Islu Pircha. On all of the four opinions, I have a kasha. Levar Shmuel, with the exception of Shmuel's Layachal Devaroi, the less Lay Pircha. The Rebbe Eliezer, guys, he said from Ish Kiyafli, Dilma Kid Rabbi Yehuda. Maybe the double lashon of Kiyafli is to go ahead and agree with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Shama Mishum Reb Tarfin, who said the name of Reb Tarfin, the Tanya. Okay, guys, here's the scenario. Two people are sitting and a person's coming, and this person says, I'm a Nazir if this person's a Nazir, and the other one says, I'm a Nazir if this person's not a Nazir. So you'd say Mimanav Shach, one of them is a Nazir, right? Guys, one person's coming, and the other, two guys are sitting, and one says to the other, if this guy's a Nazir, I'm a Nazir, and this guy says, if this guy's a Nazir, I'm not a Nazir. Says the Gemara, neither one's a Nazir. Why? You have to express, when you say you're a Nazir, it has to be an expression of clarity. And since at the point in time when they said it, it was unclear whether they were Nazirim or not, and since therefore you're not a Nazir. So maybe the extra kiyafli is for that then, but not to tell me there's an expression of eter, like Rabbi Eliezer suggested. So therefore you wouldn't have al yismechu. Hataras Nedarim would not have what to depend upon. Even the Rabbi Yeshua was the one who suggested nishpati bi'api, right? Dilma hachi kamar, ba'api nishpati v'yadrana bi. In other words, you assumed I went ahead and made my shvu in anger, and then when I calmed down, I would take it off. Maybe I made my shvu in anger, and I'm not changing my mind. Imid Rabbi Yitzchak, if you're going to say what it's from, if you're going to say, guys, it's from Rabbi Yitzchak, why did Rabbi Yitzchak say, Kol nediv leiboy, dilma lafuki mi de Shmuel, dama Shmuel, gomar beliboy, tzarech sheyoytze b'svasav, that if a person concludes in his mind to give a certain amount of tzedakah, he has to be moitzi b'svasav. It's not enough to go ahead and make it in your heart. Even though he wasn't moitzi b'svasav, kol nediv leiv lafuke that opinion. That if he's in a div leiv, he'd have to give the tzedakah. So it's not there in the div leiv to tell me, but he can change his mind. It's there to teach me this halacha. So far, 3 of the 4 opinions have been what? Have been uprooted. And if you're going to tell me this to the pasuk at the hill in the Shmati v'kayema, Rabbi Yeshua, Dilma karav gidl amarav, damar of gidl amarav, minayin shenish boyim l'kaymes a mitzvah. How do you know a person who swears to become a mitzvah? Shnemar nishpati v'kayema. David HaMelech used to make a shvur to become a mitzvah. We don't do this. Nishpati v'kayema lishma nishpata. It's kecha. So therefore, on all 4, I had a question that maybe they have nothing to do with the ability to go ahead and take off the neder. So therefore, it's not a question on a Mishnah. It's not a difference of opinion about Mishnah. However, Shmuel's layachel devarai would be. Ela Shmuel less pircha. Shmuel who said layachel devarai, he can't take it off, but others could take it off. Right? There's no question. People say it's better when peppercorn charifta that's sharp. Than a basket full of squash. Here you had this big tanoim, all of them with their opinions. Came along a small peppercorn, a small Amoira Shmuel, and he uprooted it. We just had this. I chaz in Masechta Megillah today. I just had this in Masechta Megillah. Okay, let's go. So we did the first din. The first din of the Mishnah was on Daf Yud. The first thing was that the din of Nidarim does not have to be Samichan. We had a brisa that disagreed. We had 5 opinions. 4 opinions were uprooted. The last opinion remained that what Layachal Devari, he can't take it off, but others could. The second din of the Mishnah was that there are halachas of Shabbos, Chagigah, and Me'ilah. They're like mountains that are suspended by a hair, meaning there's a little remes to them, but it's ma'od kasher. It's a very fascinating Gemara. Now, why does it mean that Hilchas Shabbos is a chuta sa'ara, meaning it's not stated? What do you mean it's not stated? Fred the Gemara, Michtav Ksivin. Torah, it does say there's such a din of Shabbos. Many warnings about Shabbos in the Torah. In this week's parsha, there was a warning about Shabbos, right? According to one opinion. There's again, so what are you telling me? There's no allusion to Shabbos in the Torah. So like tzricha, I need it for the following. Ella, I need it. Ella lechid Rav Abba. I need it for Rav Abba's din. The Amar of Abba with 4 lines from the bottom. A chayfa guma b'Shabbos. Someone who goes ahead and digs a hole on Shabbos. You're digging a hole. Outside. Let me. For those people who were not by us, Masechta Shabbos, there's a famous machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rav Shimon regarding malacha she'ein tzricha legufa. There's 2 machlokes: davar she'ein miskavin and malacha she'ein tzricha legufa. Davar she'ein miskavin is where you schlep a bench and you're going to make a furrow, so you want mechavan for that. Malacha she'ein tzricha legufa is you have a mace in the house and you're taking the mace out of the house. Now, what is that? Why taking the mace out of the house is malacha she'ein tzricha legufa? Because the purpose of transportation is not to get rid of it from your house. The purpose of transportation is to get it to the place you're going. When you take the mace out of the house, you have no rutzin that the mace should be in any particular place. You just want the mace should not be in your house. So it's a malacha she'ein tzricha legufa. With that in mind, digging a hole, and you need the dirt. Usually digging a hole in a house is binyan, yabona. So that's when you need the hole. But let's say I need the dirt. That's a malacha she'ein tzricha legufa. It's a malacha that I don't need gufa for the thing itself. And now we have machlokes, and that's what's considered what? It's a mountain that's suspended by a hair. Someone goes ahead and digs a hole on Shabbos. He only needs the dirt. Pata aleha is pata. Kiman Rav Shimon, like Rav Shimon who argues on Rabbi Yehuda. Damar malacha she'ein tzricha legufa, a malacha that I don't need for itself. Transportation, I don't need the base over there, and I don't need the hole. I don't need the hole at all. I don't want the hole. I want the dirt. Pater aleha, you be pater. So I feel the pain with Rabbi Yehuda. You can even say you're not limited to saying that this opinion is going to Rabbi Shimon. Even Rabbi Yehuda would be made if you dig a hole in your house, you'd be pater. Why? Hasam metaken. Usually, when you go ahead and take a mace out of your house, you're being metaken the house. The house is going to want to have the odor of the mace. But hachem mekalkel over here, it's mekalkel. You have a hole in your house, you don't want it. Even Rabbi Yehuda is moed by mekalkel. So that l'chayra, that's the din that is considered a mountain hanging by a thread, by a here. My kahari hatluyim b'sara. Why is that considered? It's meleches machsheves asru Torah, or meleches machsheves like ksiva. Says the top Rashi, meleches machsheves shemachshava choshre b'daitoi. That is machshava that he thought in his mind to perform in a skavin law, and he had in mind for that. V'zelin skavin law lebinyan. This person digging the hole was not mechuvim for a binyan. Lefikach pata, therefore he's pata. V'zehu remez muet. This is a mamish, a little alluded to. The ilu meleches machsheves b'Shabbos like ksiva. Meleches machsheves is not stated by Shabbos, guys. Where do we know it from? El b'mishkanhu. We don't know any melachas in the Torah. We know there's something Shabbos. Where do we learn? From this week's parsha, we learn what? Vayakel. The tushtel Vayakel to Shabbos. Now, the whole Haggadah of the Isser Shabbos is what went on in the Mishkan. Ela b'mishkanhu d'chsev. U'lefisha samech parshas Vayakel, parshas Shabbos, the parshas Mishkan. Anu l'meidim melachas machsheves l'Shabbos. So that's why Shabbos, melachas machsheves, the concept of melachas and tzrich legufa is only merumis to, because again, the way we learn it from is from a tzushtel juxtaposition between Shabbos and Vayakel. That's why it's considered a bunch of halachas, but it's hanging by a thread. There's hanging by a thread, meaning there's not such an allusion to it in the Torah. The next thing is Chagigah, and that's why we brought in that Chagigah is alluded to in the Torah. The Gemara is going to ask, I have psukim that deal with Chagigah. How can you tell me it's alluded to similar to Melechus Machshavas or Shabbos? The Chagigah apparently is stated pretty openly. Apparently it's not like a horim that a tuluya b'sa'ara. That's the Gemara's kasha. Says the Gemara, Michtav Chagigah, the Chagigah, Michtav Kasivman. It's written. The Chagigah is written. So what do you tell me? It's what it's considered what? Hanging by a thread? Like tzricha l'chadam le'rapapel abaya. Mimai dahai v'chagoysim say chagla Hashem. Zvicha, we touched up the pasuk. And you should go ahead and be choygeg. You should go ahead and bring a karman Chagigah, which means a zvicha, which means a shlamim. Tilma chagu chaga kama. Maybe it means to have a good time, Rachmana. Maybe dance around, play music. Rashi says, choygu chaga, lahar by simcha. Be mar b'simcha, eat more, be merry, play music, go to Six Flags, who knows? No, that's not a simcha. So there's something, do anything that, but not bringing a carbon. How do you know that? Here's where you know it from. When it says Moshe to Paro, that let the people go out, that what? They'll bring karbanis. Says maybe it doesn't mean karbanis. Maybe it means also to macht freilach. You're going to say, you're right. Moshe says zvachim v'oilos. So you see that the chag is being karbanis. So therefore, yeshal ma'alismach. So how can you say that it's what? It's gehorim toila b'sara. Says the word hachi kamar rachmana achlu v'shasu v'chaygu. Go ahead, eat and drink and make freilach, but not that it's karbanis. Chaygu chaga. Says kamoy in front of me. Says it's not svar to say that Moshe said, let's go make freilach without bringing carbon. Do not leave the fat of my chag over till the morning. So apparently that fat is associated with the chag. The only place you get fat from is from a carbon. So therefore, yeshal ma'alismach. And back to the original question, why do you say this? What? It's like a horim that watch that is a horim that a tluya b'sara. Is there fat? Says no, the Gemara persists. The chaylev that's born in the zman of the chag. It doesn't mean that the chag, that there's such a thing as a chagigah openly. Maybe chaylev that's bought during the chag, don't leave over. If that's what you mean, you can leave it over what? Meaning, according to you, it's a case of miyuchid, special to the chag, you can't leave over fat, but the rest of the year you could? There's no way. It says a pasuk, you shouldn't leave over anything. So you can't tell me that why it's limited to the chag. So it must be that the pasuk is open in the Torah, and it's not like a mountain that's suspended by your hair. It says in where Dilma Imiyahi, maybe if you just had the pasuk called a boika, Havamina, Hahula say, it's a mitzvah say to burn the fat. Because Rachmana Hailulav. And we write the pasuk of La Yolim by the chag to tell me that what that there's a lav, but ain't a chinami, it's written in the Torah. says no, lulav kasser karachmin. I have another pasuk for lulav. So you have a pasuk that says that you shouldn't leave it over. So memela what? It must be that Chag must be teaching, not teaching me a korban. It says more of a doma la'av or lebeshnei lavim v'asei. Maybe it's to be over two lavim v'asei, and it's two of lavim v'asei. So in other words, right now we're holding the following. Really, Chagigah does that. Really, it's exactly what I said it was. Really, what I said it was. There's no pasuk in the Torah that speaks about Chag. I can go ahead and refute it. And I yap psukim. Once the mitzvahs say to burn the fat, the other one's two lavim. If you don't burn the fat, but enachinami, when it says Chagoisem, it means to machfreilach. You should be happy. But therefore, it doesn't have a malis moich. Ella asya midbar. We have a gzera shava midbar. Ksiv yichoguli midbar. It says in the Torah that by Yosher Rabbeinu they should be chagni in the midbar. Uksiv hasam hazvachim umincha higashtem li midbar. The zvachim in the midcha that you bring to me in the midbar. Malahalan the pasuk in Amos. This is important. The pasuk is a pasuk in Navi. It says just like there it's zvachim afkan zvachim. Okay, so now apparently we have a source for chag, a gezerah shava midbar from midbar by Paro and Moshe and by Amos. So why then is it considered that you don't have a source? That it's like, like Meleches Machsheves, which is not a source, which is all a remez. It says Gemara, Umayka Harim Atluyim B'Sara. Why is Chagigah considered Harim Tluyim B'Sara if you do have a source? Gezerah Shava Midbar. Divrei Torah Divrei Kabbalah Lo Yalfinon. Because Divrei Torah from Divrei Kabbalah from the Navi we don't learn. So if your whole premise is based upon a Gezerah Shava to Amos, it's not so clear. Therefore, it would not be considered Mamish what Dava is if it's written. We considered what is Kahorim Hatloyim. So therefore, we dealt with the first two. We dealt with all three cases, right? Let's go over what we did so far this evening. We did Nedarim. Mishnah said the Nedarim doesn't have to be samich upon. We brought Shmuel says no, it does. Layachal Devaroi, he can't take it off, but others could. We said that Shabbos, Chagigah, and Me'ilah are what? Are places where it's like a mountain, a bunch of halachas hanging by a thread. What was the thread? Shabbos, the thread was Meleches Masheves, the remes from Pashas Vayakel to Shabbos. And now we're saying Chagigah is a remes, the Gezerah Shava Midbar, the Navi, and since it's Divrei Torah Divrei Lo Yalfinon, it also is only a very, very much far-fetched illusion, and therefore all the halachas of Chagigah are mountains suspended by a hair. What's the final thing? The final thing is Me'ilah. Okay, let's a little hakdama. People have not learned this before. In Vayikra Hey, one of the asham we bring is an asham Me'ilas. If a person has hana from Hegdish, or a person goes ahead and takes something out of the rishus of Hegdish, either you have physical hana, or you go ahead and take it out of the rishus of Hegdish, midaraisa, if it's being moil, literally being moil midaraisa, it's not mila, it's mila with an ayin, guys, not a yud like mila, like a bris mila. It's with an ayin, mi'ila. You're transgressing. You have to pay the amount that it was worth, the principal, plus the chaimish, a fifth, which is really a quarter, and indeed bring a carbon that's called an asham me'ilas. Now, the Mishnah stated that this is what is alluded to. It doesn't state it openly, but there are a bunch of halachas. One of the more difficult mesechtas in Shas is mesechta me'ilah, right? That Be'ez Hashem will get to. We should all live and be well. So now, me'ilah is what is something again, halachas kahorim, like mountains that are suspended by a hair. That's what we're doing right now. So let's go through it. Now, there's a very unique halacha about me'ilah, guys. We paskin that ain't shliach ledavar avera. Ain't shliach ledavar avera. If I go and tell you to kill somebody and you kill somebody, then you are mechuyev. Divrei Arav, the words of the Rav Kadosh Baruch Hu that says don't kill. Divrei Talmud, the word of the Talmud Eliezer Stern that says does kill. Divrei Mishomim, who do you listen to? So we say Ein Shliach L'Dvar Aveira. That's the source. It's in Kedushin. I think it's Daf Membez. So he says that this is the source. So now, if I would send you on a mission with money, you're my shliach, and you go ahead and the money happens to be hegdish, and you go ahead and use it, you're moil. I'm moil. I'm moil, not you. I'm moil. Yesh shliach l'dvar aveira. I send you to do an aveira. This is a unique din In a few, there's two other places, Dalet Vehei, and one more, Shlichas Yad Bepikadon. Yeah, Benji was on it. Benji knows these three things. I know he's always. Okay, anyway. Me'ila. Michdav Ksiva. Me'ila is written in the Torah. It's not alluded to. It's not a chorim hanging by a thread. It's open pesukim. The following halacha. Hashliach she'asa shlichusai. In a case where a person gives money of hegdish to another individual, and the other individual uses the money and he carries out the shlichus, so I send you to buy a jet jersey, and you buy an Islander jersey, then you're moil because you need to do shlichus. But if you buy the jet jersey, then I'm moil if you use that money. It says the word when the shliach does a shlichus, when he does what he's supposed to do, a moil, why is he moil? How's it possible he did the Aveira, the Shliach did the Aveira, and the Mishaleach, the one who sent him, is Chayiv? And Hainukel Horim Atluyim Besara. This halacha is considered a halacha that what is suspended by a hair, because it goes against all of what logic. Right. Big question is, guys, Divrei Rav and Divrei Talmud Divrei Shoma doesn't apply over here. Because they're both Chagigah. If I tell you to go kill somebody, I know you're not allowed to kill. You know you're not allowed to kill. Over here, no one is aware that there is what? There is hegdish money involved. So ayin toisvis stuff, mem beis, amid beis, in the Kedushin. Says the Gemara, Amarava, umay kusha, dilma shiny me'ila, the yolfa chet mi truma. What do you mean there's no allusion to? By truma, guys, we just did the two most famous Gezerah Shabbos and Shas. Lo meisha and chet mi truma. These are Gezerah Shabbos that everyone knows. I think the next one would be Tesvav, 15, by I think those are the three. I think those are the three everyone knows. Now you know at Seres, Midbar, you've been overloaded with Gezerah Shabbos, right? So anyway, so very geschmack. Truma is Truma is the following. Chet mi truma. It says by Truma, the Lashon. It says by Truma, by Sisul of Chet, and it says by the Chata, it says by Be'ila, it says V'chata b'shkaga. So Chet mi Truma. Chata to Chet, by Sisul of Chet. So says the Gemara, why do you say it's not alluded to in the Torah? Let's say what? Chet mi Truma. Ma'achasam, just like Truma, Shluchas Shalom K'maisai, we learn at Shlichus. In fact, we can get to the Sugyas. One of the sources for Shlichus is what? Is Truma. Afkan Shluchas Shalom K'maisai. So just like over there, Shluchas Shalom K'maisai, it's as if you took off Truma, so too over here, it's like you were Moil. So therefore, it's not such a Chiddush of what? Of Yesh Shlich Levar Veira. Elama Rav Nitzcha Elef the Tanya, the following case. Niska Balabayas, Niska Shliach Mol. So let's go. I go ahead and I send out Shalom Kagan. I say, Shalom, do me a favor. Here's some money. Go to the store and buy me a jet jersey. Shalom goes and buys the jet jersey. So we said, you know why Shalom? Why am I chayiv? Because we learn out chet mi truma. So therefore, there's no avera over here. Literally, the chayiv is avera, but it's b'shogeg. So therefore, maybe it's alluded to in the Torah. What happens as soon as I send Shalom out to buy the jet jersey? I remember now that, oh my goodness, heavens to Betsy, I sent him out with Kedusha, with money that's Kodesh. Then when he spends the money, he's moil. Once I have the idea that it's my money, no longer is it what? Meal is only b'shogeg. No longer is it b'shogeg. So if I remember that the money I gave him to buy the jet jersey happens to be kachim money, then he's moil. Says, and that's the one that the halacha that's what is tuluyim. Says Gemara, Elefedetanya. Niska balabayis, if Laser Stern remembers that it's mila money, that's kaddish money. For Niska shliach, but Shalom Kagan doesn't. Shliach mo, he's mo. Fred Gemara, shliach anya my kovid. What did he do? What did he do? Nebech, what did he do? And hainu kahorim atluyim besara. There's no source for this. This is nebech. There's no source. Nebech. He's chayiv. This is like the mountain that's suspended by a hair. I'm Ravashi, my kushya. Dilma midi dehu amoitzi mois hegdish lechulin. What are you talking about? If I go ahead, b'shoigeg, I'm a shoigeg. I go to the store and buy the jet jersey. I go to the store and buy the jet jersey. I didn't know it was right. So maybe what? No difference. So good. He's buying it for me, and the shlichus is over, but it's the same action, the same haitzah of going from the rishus of Hegdish, Pashat, to the other rishus, same way. So therefore, it's not such a chiddush. Elam Ravashi, lo nitzcha el chidetanya. We need for the following case. Not al even or karish al Hegdish. You take a beam or a stone of Hegdish, harizel lo moil. Taking it, you're not moil, not yet. Nosnel chaveroi, if I give it to Shalom Kagan, who moil, I'm moil, the chaveroi lo moil. If Shalom would go ahead and take this stone and give it to David Sass, sell it to David Sass, he won't be moiled. You know why? Because as soon as there's Me'ilah, it loses its Hegdish. As soon as the first Me'ilah takes place, it's Yoitza Mehegdish and Bal Lechulim. So as soon as I gave it to what? To Shalom Kagan, once I'm moiled, the Evan, the stone, the Koira, and the beam is Chulin. Therefore, when he goes ahead and gives it to David Sass, in that case, there is no what? There is no Me'ilah. Michti, Mishkal Shakal, Mali Hu, Mali Chaveroi. Why am I Nasl Chaveroi, Hu Mal Chaveroi Leimal, Michti, Mishkal Shakal, Mali Hu, Mali Chaveroi. Why am I only moil when I give it to Shalom Kagan? Why am I not moil when I take it from Hegdish? Guys, outside. The act of Me'ilah is a transfer of ownerships, right? You're going from place to place. So there's two transfers of ownerships over here. One, when Laser Stern takes it from Hegdish, and two, when Laser Stern gives it to Shalom Kagan. The Me'ilah took place when Laser Stern took it to Shalom Kagan. Fred the Gemara, why wasn't the Me'ilah in the first transition, right? When it went from Hegdish to me. Mishkal Shakal, I took it out. Says Mali says Hainu Kahara Matuliyim Basara. And that's what, this is the halacha, that's why it's Suim Basara. Fred my question, what's your kasha? Dilma Kiddush Shmuel, Dama Shmuel Amid Aleph. Hacha begizber Messiahs lo yavne binyan askinan. The chalheche de mancha b'shusa de mancha. You know what? You know what my job is, guys? I'm a gizber of Hegdish. I'm in charge of the stones and the wood. So if I take it, it's still in my rishus. Bezin gave it to me. So there wasn't a transition from Hegdish to me to make it chulin. There only was a transition from me to Shalom Kagan to make it chulin. So you're asking the side question that what's the big chiddush over here? Maybe there's a huge chiddush over here. The fact that I'm not moil and the fact that only when it goes from me to Shalom is Me'ilah. What are you talking about? There's no chiddush there whatsoever. My job is to deal with that. It's in my rishus wherever it is. So when I took it and gave it to Shalom, as of yet, right, that was the first Me'ilah, but taking it from Hegdish, it's mine. So therefore, there's no chiddush. So we're still looking for the chiddush. What's the Me'ilah to the chiddush that's considered keharim, like a mountain that's suspended by a hair? Elamei Seifa. Bonim b'toich beisai. Now, I have a stone. I chisel the stone and I fit it into my break. I fit it into my backsplash on my kitchen. I have a beam, and this beam, I go ahead and I whittle it down. I change it, and now I fit it into a roof, and I put cement on it. So now there's been a shinoi in the actual thing. A shinoi is like transferring of rishus, just like that's a shinoi rishus. This is a shinoi maisa. So I'm doing an action over there. So what happens over there? I'm only moil if I go ahead and a backsplash was not a good, let's say I use it as a skylight. So the Me'ilah is only when I have hana, not when I go ahead and do the shinoi of whittling or chiseling. Michti, shinuya shinaya, I changed it, right? So just like, again, as we spoke out, there's a change of rishus, there's a change of maisa. Mali darbi, mali dar, what's the difference if I live under it? Mali loy dar. What? In other words, the shinui took place earlier. I should have been moil earlier, but I'm only moil when I leave it when I go ahead and live underneath. And hainu kaharim atlim b'sara. That's the case of what? A harim that is in the Sarah. Right now, so we're holding. So again, in the din of Me'ilah, we want a case of that's a mountain that's hanging, a little crazy. Where's the source for this? And what's the source so far? I go ahead, I take a beam from Hegdish. I'm a gizber of Hegdish. I take the beam, I whittle it down, I fit it in my house. L'chayra, I'm only moil when I live underneath the beam. Why? I should be moil as soon as I whittle it down. That's a shinoi. Says so that's the harim ketuli basara. Says my kusha. Maybe it's like Rav's. The number Rav going shaniach al pi aruba. You put it up across your roof. In other words, it's not that I whittle it down. It's still in the exact same form as it was when I took it. But I needed support on my roof. I needed to close a hole in my roof. I just put it down on the roof, where I put the ever on the roof. And therefore, there was no change. You know why I'm only moil? Guys, there's two ways to be moil. Either change from hegdish or you had physical hana. I'm only moil when I have the physical hana, when I live underneath it. It says, in my kusha, you put it on the skylight. So guys, right now, where are we holding? We don't have a halacha of hegdish that is what? That is kaharim, that's tluyim b'sara. Ella la'olam kiderava. La'olam, it's like Rava. Rava said that what? That the balabayas remembers, and then Shalom spends it. Shalom is moil. Okay, so what was the case, right? I give the money to Shalom. Shalom goes to buy the jet jersey. I remember. Shalom is moil. We asked, there's no big deal over there. It'll be the same thing as I went to buy the jet jersey, right? It says, the kashalach, midi dahavi amitzi moyes hegdish l'chulin, me buying the jet jersey. Hasan made the yada, the ikazuze, the hegdish. I know in my house there's zuzim of hegdish. Iboy leile yune. Hacha mi yada. Guys, there's a big difference between me spending the money to buy the jet jersey and Shalom spending the money to buy the jet jersey. When I went to spend the money to buy the jet jersey, I knew that there was money of Hegdish in my house. You know why? Because I was Magdish it. I was Magdish it. And therefore I should have been more careful. And that's why I'm loyal. But poor Shalom is mamish a complete, excuse the expression, he was a complete carbon. Right? I set him up. There's no way in the world he should be moil, yet he is. And that's kaharim taluyim b'sa'ara. So therefore, that's the last thing of the Mishnah. We explained Shabbos, Melechas Machsheves. We explained Chagigah, Midbar, Divrei Torah, Divrei Kabbalah Yafinon, and we're spending Me'ilah. The case of Me'ilah is where a Shliach, Mishalech sends a Shliach. Mishalech remembers the poor Shliach is moil. That is the halacha. That is what is kaharim taluyim b'sa'ara. I wish you all a good evening. Good vach. Thank you everyone for listening.